Hello and welcome to the latest video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Game Week 21. I've almost forgotten which Game Week it was. I should know it's Game Week 21. The preparation for Game Week 21 seems to be going on all season. But yeah, it's Game Week 21. We're going to be doing this as we look ahead to Game Week 21's dilemmas and issues through the goals and assists imminent tables, which use Fantasy Football Scout members area stats to try and predict future returns. Last week we looked back on those predictions, see how well they did. And this week we'll have a look at those tables proper. Who is due a goal? Who is due an assist? In addition, we'll take any questions you have at the end of the stream to have a think about those and post your questions in the live chat. My name is Joe, and joining me is Tom Freeman, Fantasy Football Scout's Deputy Editor. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks, Joe. Yeah, it's shaping up to be an interesting game week, isn't it? Captaincy up in the air. Quite a bit of variety in the Son Salah replacements as well that I'm seeing about. We've got the split game week, of course, which adds another layer. So, yeah, lots to discuss and looking forward to seeing who's on the tables this week, hoping maybe one or two of my transfer targets are.
Yeah, same with me. Excellent. Before we go on, do remember to press that like button, and it really helps us out. And do remember to subscribe so you keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Also, have a look at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for the latest offers in the membership area there. Any stats we've got here are all derived from that area as well. Welcome to those joining us in the live chat. If you, once again, as ever, my playback function isn't working, so I'm assuming you can all see and hear us. If you can just let us know in the live chat that you can see and hear us, so we know we're not just talking to ourselves. Welcome to Jason, Matthew, Sukan, Jamie, Corey, Rodrev, Jama, Kieran, and many more joining us from South Africa. And once again, Atlanta. A couple of weeks ago, we had someone from Atlantis. I thought it was they were returning, but probably I think some events happened in Atlantis to mean they couldn't be joining us. But Atlanta's fine, as far as I know, from flooding. Yeah, everyone is saying good to go. That is excellent. Do keep us posted just to make sure that we're still there. Dragonloat is normally in freezing Norway, but now he's in sunny Wimbledon. Audio and video all fine, says Alan. Thanks for joining us. Brilliant. Okay, let's just get into those tables. Let's not mess around. Who is due a goal? Goal's imminent. Let's have a look. Okay, this is by last 4 matches. I've done it by matches, not game weeks, because different teams have played certain amounts. So we've still got some owed fixtures. Brentford, Man City, Luton, Bournemouth spring to mind. And that's going to step up as blank and double game weeks occur. Okay, first name on this list is Callum Wilson at Newcastle. If he starts, which is unlikely, he could get returns. 3 shots on target, but he's been underperforming his stats with 10 shots inside the box. All of his shots over the last 4 matches have been inside the box, but he's only started twice and only had 1 big chance. So he's probably not on our radars as a transfer target or anyone to get in, is he?
I think he's out of game week 21. Eddie Howe, he spoke, I think it was after the cup tie against Sunderland or maybe before in his presser, and he ruled him out of the next 2 games, which was that Sunderland one and the City one. I think he'll be back after that, though. But then, of course, you've got Isak, who did very well at the weekend, and there's going to be a bit of rotation there. So don't think we can be looking at Wilson just yet, but maybe one for future weeks.
Okay, before we get to the next name, just had an update from Matthew. I misread Atlanta as Atlantis. Apparently, I might not have done because it is flooding with heavy rain in Atlanta. So fingers crossed Atlanta does not become Atlantis. Hope Matthew and everyone else is all safe there. Pascal Gross is next. Mainstay of my team Brighton. 6.4 million. He's had 3 big chances. He has missed them all. But he's had a couple of shots on target. And he's had 9 shots, 5 of those from close range. He's been underperforming his stats by at least a goal involvement. At least a goal. Rather in the last 4. No goals. He has been racking up the assists, though, recently. Brighton look good despite the injuries at the moment, particularly from attacking-wise. If I had 2 free transfers, I would probably bring him in, but I've only got 1, so I might not prioritise him. But I do like this fixture against Wolves. I do think he's going to get a return for this.
Yeah, I think he's my top target for a Son replacement. I'm probably only going to move Son out this
Mm.
week rather than both him and Salah. And I think Gross is he's right up there. He maybe not the most exciting pick in the world.
Oh,
I get that. I get that from kind of people when I discuss his name, but his numbers are great. He's more than
mm.
anybody, Joe. You know how key he is to De Zerbi and how he loves
Yeah,
him. He's going to play.
yeah.
He's going to play every game, isn't he?
He could play
No
anywhere.
rotation issues. Yeah.
He could play anywhere. Attacking mids, central mid, defensive mids, fullbacks. He could play on the wing. He could play goal if he wanted to, probably. But the thing is, you might see him in all those places during the match. He could play
Yes.
all of those roles, all in the same match.
He does seem to have been playing more of the midfield role lately, though, doesn't he,
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah,
Because it's Hinshelwood's been
yeah.
filling a right
It's,
back, hasn't he, and kind of inverting, and this Stupidan's back
yeah,
now.
they got bodies back
So
basically. Yeah.
yeah, so no Mitoma, no Adingra for the foreseeable either. I thought against West Ham, he got in some really attacking
Mm,
positions. Gross, he's attacking the box late. Should
mm,
have scored really,
yeah.
and chance create and chance. It's good to see Gross on this table
Mm,
because chance creation is never really a worry with Gross
mm,
for me. He's going to tick along with assists.
yeah.
Okay, he might go through a bit of a dip every now and again, but the numbers are always there. João Pedro's coming into form, which helps his assist potential as well, I think. So yeah, I'm quite bullish on Gross. I
Yeah.
think, and it's not just that Wolves fixture, is it, Joe? They go
No.
to Luton the week
Mm.
after. They've got Palace, they've got Sheffield United a couple of weeks after that. So there's some nice fixtures there
Everton,
for
Fulham,
Brighton.
Tottenham. I mean, these are
Yeah,
all good attacking fixtures. Might not win, but there's certainly going
no,
to be goals there. Yeah, top of the fixtures right up to game 27 and beyond, I believe as well. I've only looked in the
yes,
next seven fixtures. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've only got one transfer. Salah or Son is going, probably Salah because it just frees up more money, gives more options. It's going to be between Pascal Gross and Phil Foden, I think, for me at the moment.
yeah, yeah.
And I genuinely don't know, and it's not my Brighton head here. I just think it's an immediate home at Wolves is an immediate return. I think, whereas Foden has the tricky Newcastle game, and he can sort of wait a week because then he's got Burnley, and also I'll have a bit more information about Foden's role with De Bruyne back, Haaland back.
Yeah, because City, they go, I think they're one of the few clubs, I think they go to Abu Dhabi
Mm.
after the Newcastle. They got 2 weeks off, haven't
Yeah, yeah.
they?
Mm.
Well, it's two and a bit weeks
Mm.
off, I think, actually, in preparation for that
Mm.
that game against Burnley. And we're going to want, and so you'd think Haaland probably comes back in for that. Is that a game for De Bruyne to get 60 minutes in home against Burnley potentially?
Yeah.
And Foden, I think Foden, yes, we want him playing a central
Mm.
role because that's where he's looked so effective recently. But even if Foden's starting every game on the wing, he's still
Yeah.
going to do
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
out there. So I like him as an option as well this week. Haven't moved for him yet, but
Yeah.
he's on the radar.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very tempted by Gross. I don't know
Mhm.
yet. I'm still very undecided, which I haven't made the move yet. I've lost probably about half a
No,
million already.
same.
But
Yeah.
that's why. I mean, my team value is about 105 or something. So that's why I'm not too worried about the money at the moment. Next name up is Darwin Núñez. Of course, Darwin Núñez is on this list. His goal is always imminent. 3 big chances, fluffed them all. 6 shots on target. He's had 13 shots though. He should have scored at least a goal. Three starts in his last 4 matches. So there's a possibility of rotation, but he does seem to be favoured. But 11 of his 13 shots have been on target. He has scored. And he can assist as well. It's just about, for me, it's just, I've said this on many podcasts, it's about fun, this game, and I did not enjoy owning Darwin Núñez, and I don't think I ever will, so I'm not going to own him. But not for me, could be for other people though. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about him at length before, and the Arsenal game at the weekend, it was very hit and miss. It's what you tend to get with Darwin, but perhaps more miss lately. But he actually looked better in the second half when he went to the left, I thought.
Yeah.
And so maybe that there's a bit of uncertainty in that Liverpool front line with Salah gone, isn't there? Because there's still 4 players competing
Yeah.
for 3 places essentially. And I think Gakpo looked better as a centre forward as well. He
Yeah.
started in midfield at the weekend. So I think that he'll probably play more minutes up top going forward. So, yeah, I mean, if you own Darwin, I think he's okay to hold. The fixtures aren't great, admittedly. Bournemouth and Arsenal are good defences in the next three, and there's Chelsea as well. Burnley after that, but by that point, you're probably going to be getting Salah back. But
Yeah.
Darwin, yeah, I mean, I think there are other strikers ahead of him for sure, but he might not be a priority sell for everybody. But I get why I haven't owned him this year, and I get why for people like you, Joe, who's probably made that Watkins move and lost out on a few points. He's probably just been very frustrating to own.
I think I reversed it. Just be done with it. At least with Watkins, he might not score, but he'll get the assists. And he'll get returns, and that's what you want. He just looks better. I know he's played striker for your team as well. I enjoy him in my team. I don't enjoy Darwin Núñez. Alexander Arnold is next. Now, this is a bit of a sort of a headline grabber, I think. Not just for me personally as a non-owner. I fear him every week. But he's 8.5 million, a lot for a defender. He's had 2 big chances, missed them. No shots on target, 4 starts, but he has had 9 shots, 3 inside the box, which has earned him sort of a right to sort of creep up this table here. Obviously, assist potential is a big one. Those amazing passes he can do for midfield. There's a possibility of a clean sheet against Bournemouth, but it is away and it is against Solanke at Bournemouth. So I don't know about clean sheets, but from attacking point of view, goals. Basically I don't own, and I'm right to fear him, aren't I?
Well, he's playing at a really high level at the moment, isn't he? He was really good against Arsenal at the weekend. He would have got the assist in FPL, I think, for the Kivior own goal, wouldn't he? And I think he hit the bar as well, didn't he? So he's obviously playing at his top level. I think you're right to look at those fixtures and maybe think, where are the clean sheets? I could see a clean sheet at home against Chelsea. I don't think either of the next two. I think Bournemouth away and Arsenal away. I'm not so sure. I know they kept a clean sheet at the weekend, but they did ride their luck at times against Arsenal. So I'm not sure about that. But I think that, the way he's playing, I think, you go into games thinking he can get an attacking return. So, and given that Trippier has dropped off as well, he's probably the player, the defender to own, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he is a lot of money. It's 8.5 million. Are you thinking of getting him in, Joe, or are you going to ride it out for a bit longer without him? Or?
I mean, I think I do need to, simply as a shield, but also he's a good player. Also, Liverpool could double in 25. They could blank in 26, but they could double in 25, all to do with their League Cup final involvement. I do not want to go into a Liverpool double game week without a fit Salah, if he presumably he's back from AFCON, and Alexander Arnold. I do not want that world. That's not a world where I live in.
Well, that's not fun. You said about FPL being fun, and going into those games without them isn't fun, is it?
So I think for me, one of the reasons I'm moving, we'll talk about it in our team reveal video a bit more, but one of the reasons I'm thinking of moving Salah on instead of Son, it's just it frees up more money and gives me more options. It gives me enough money to move, Lamptey I've got on my bench up to Alexander Arnold, if not this week, in the following week against Chelsea. Then that'll be my next move. So I'm quite happy to wait. Well, not happy to wait, but I don't want to spend a hit to get him in a week where I've got 3 defenders I want to field. There's no need for me to get him in. If I was sort of very light in defence, I would definitely get him in. But got Alfred Doughty, don't need Alexander Arnold for a while.
You've got Porro as well, haven't you? So you've got your fair share of defenders. You probably won't keep clean sheets, but will do well.
I've got Gabriel at home to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I mean, all 3 of those, I would play any week. Not any week, and with those fixtures. So Alexander Arnold can wait. If it wasn't for a hit, maybe I'd bring him in and maybe bench Gabriel or something like that. But I can't, not for a hit.
It's not worth it for a -4, no.
So well done, Alexander Arnold. So you're going to get the march on me there. Saka is next on this. This is important as well. Another headline grabber, I think, because he's in the frame for the captaincy. We have a captaincy video out this week as well. Do watch that or listen to that podcast version. So Saka's only scored a goal in his last 4 matches, but he has had 5 shots on target, 14 shots inside the box, 18 shots in total. So 18 shots is huge. And I can't remember him making all of these shots, but clearly he has. And 14 of them have been at close range as well. Just only 5 on target. So that's the problem there. If you can get them on target, he marginally should have got another goal here, and therefore hopped off this table in a good way. He's only got one goal, but yeah, it's pleasing to see him here. I hope I see him on the assist imminent table as well, because if we're thinking of the captaincy, we want goals, we want assists, we want everything, don't we? So yeah, does that make you feel a bit better owning him and perhaps captaining him?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're creating chances, Arsenal, aren't they? They just can't finish them at the moment. That's the problem. They've got a lot of quality in there, so you've just got to hope that this break that they've got will give them a bit of a chance to reset. Because Saka he's been running to the ground a little bit. He's played so many minutes over the festive period and the season as well, that maybe just having this bit of a break will do him and the rest of the team. It will make a difference for them, and then they can come back refreshed. Because I'm not writing him off as a captain. He did very well against Palace last year. I think he got 18 points at home against them. So he probably likes that matchup. I can't remember if it was Tyrick Mitchell playing at left back. It might have been last year. I'd need to look into that. But yeah, I think he got the goal at Fulham, didn't he? So it's not like he's on a major drought or anything like that. But I do want to see a bit more from him from open play, I think. He's in the running for captaincy, certainly. I'm currently on Palmer, but it's close.
Okay. Next up, Gordon. Quite a few owners still of Gordon at Newcastle, but a lot of people might have got rid of him recently. Sort of a dip in form of Newcastle in general. Hard to. I mean, he looked okay against Sunderland. Hard to know what to make of that. It's not a Premier League clash, but 10 shots, last 4 matches. No goals, hence him being on this table. But those shots, 7 of those have been at close range, but just 2 on target. He should have got maybe a goal over this time. So they're okay, but I think what would you do if you own Gordon at the moment? I suppose you've probably got Salah and Son and various other fires to fight, so you wouldn't sort of not priority. But he's not a player I would feel wholly comfortable owning at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'd probably keep, but only because of game week. They've got a couple of tough fixtures, haven't they? They've got City and Villa away.
Yeah.
But then they play Luton and Forest. And I think because, like you said, Joe, I think that people have got Son, they've got Salah. And I think I'd probably just play him against City, knowing that he's done very well at St James's Park this year. Yeah. Just hope you can get something. They're probably going to lose, but it might be a 2-1 or a 3-1 or something. Okay. You might get something. No.
Yeah, definitely. Gakpo is next. So you mentioned him. I get the impression he's more of a Firmino figure in that he sort of links up play, gets in the way a bit. He doesn't cause the chaos that Darwin does, but he's just a reliable, steady player. And I guess he's competing up front with Jota, but nevertheless, he's got 9 shots, 7 of those inside the box, 4 on targets. He's all right. Should have got at least another goal. He has scored a goal in his last 4 matches. He's had 3 big chances, missed 2 of them. I don't think for FPL, but I think in real life he's good for Liverpool. What do you think?
Yeah, he feels like a bit more of a facilitator, doesn't he, for the players like Darwin and Jota, who are going to be racking up the goal attempts more so than Gakpo, I think. So he's not on my radar at all. But Liverpool are interesting. Are you tempted to, maybe not this week, are you tempted to go near the attack without Salah there, Joe, or will you just wait for him to come back?
Well, I just don't think I'm going to get a chance, because by the time I get a chance, Salah will be back, so I'll just get Salah back. I really want Jota, but I can't. He's just not getting the minutes. And he's the one who looks like the best route to getting a goal. And it's just whether we spoke about, I think it was our very first Goals Imminent video. We spoke about the impact of this sort of more extra time on. And Jota is amongst those that we said would benefit from that. Because if he comes on in the 70th minute, he hasn't got 20 minutes. He's perhaps got 30 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, you saw the impact he made at the weekend off the bench, didn't you?
Great,
so you've got to think a start's coming soon, but where is that going to be? Because I thought, he'll come in on the right, but then Elliott played that, and then Luis Diaz played on the right when Liverpool looked a lot better. Darwin looked better on the left. Then you've got Gakpo or Jota through the middle, and it just feels a bit like when you're gambling on, is he definitely going to start the next 3 games in a row. Probably not, given that Liverpool are fighting in 4 competitions. I know the Champions League isn't running now, but they've got League Cup semi-finals, they've got FA Cups. And then even if he does that, where is he going to play in that team? Because I don't know if you want him on the right. I think you probably would want him through the middle or at least on the left. So it's a risk. I think if you're chasing, I'd be more inclined to go for Jota because he is that kind of differential, isn't he? Which, okay, it could go wrong, but he could score a hat-trick in a game and nobody would bat an eyelid, really.
And he can do it in 10 minutes, 20 minutes as well.
So maybe one for the people who are chasing and who are looking for 1 or 2 real differentials in their team.
I mean, apart from Pascal Gross at Brighton, this table particularly is dominated by Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle. But it's mainly sort of Liverpool and Arsenal. They've got their 3 players in. It's the last 2 on this list is Martinelli and Odegaard. Now, you have Odegaard in your side, so you'll be pleased to see him here. He's had 11 shots, 5 of those inside the box, just 2 on target. Should have got probably a goal over this time, but no big chances. Martinelli, meanwhile, has had a big chance. He's 1 shot on target, 10 shots, 7 inside the box. It was good to see him doing his party trick against Liverpool, running right down to the byline, cutting in, moving around defenders, trying to score, trying to do a pass. Didn't actually pay off for him, but it amazes me every week when I see Martinelli that he manages to do that and no one stops him. But
very
anyway,
hard to play against.
Martinelli and Odegaard, you own Odegaard, so you'd probably be keen to see him here. But if their warm weather training goes well, there could be options. Could be options here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned as a double attack owner because I own Saka as well, and I've kind of got on board that attack. I think doubled up 3 weeks ago, and it hasn't really paid off. So I need, I need this break to reinvigorate them and for them to come back firing because otherwise, it's a lot of money. It's 17.5 million or whatever on 2 players. So the fixtures are there though for Arsenal. You know, you've got Forest after this. Liverpool will be tough, but then West Ham and Burnley after that, two leaky defences. So, I'm going to hold Odegaard and a bit longer and just hope that he can, certainly the home game against Palace, they're going to have a lot of possession in and around the box, aren't you? Yeah. And I hope that just he can be the one to kind of help unlock the Palace defence.
Okay, we'll have a look at the assists imminent table. This will highlight those who are due an assist. Don't blame us if they just score and get goals for you instead, which often is the case. Meanwhile, those in the live chat do have a think about some questions and do put a question mark in the live chat. Then me and Tom afterwards will try and answer as many as we can in the time we have left. So have a think about those questions. Let's see who's due an assist. Okay, once again, last 4 matches. It's a minimum of 7 chances created over that period. It's matches, not game weeks, because there's been an uneven amount of games played. And once you have got more than 2 assists or more, you're off the table. If your expected assist delta stats, whether you're underperforming, drop off, you're also off the table. This is good news for the captaincy here. So Saka on the goals imminent table, in the running to be a captain. He's top of the assists imminent table. He's created 11 chances. He's taken 12 corners. That's all good stats. Has scored. No assists, and he's had 4 successful crosses. Should have got at least an assist, maybe more, over this period. This is good. I mean, I know we've got a whole video about captaincy coming out this week, but yeah, this makes me really want to captain Saka.
Yeah, lots of routes to points, which is what Palmer offers as well, I think. Another player that we debated in the captaincy video, and it was between those 2 for us currently. I mean, we're recording this on Tuesday, so don't hold us to it if it changes on Friday. But for now, that's where we're looking. But yeah, I mean, I do think that Saka has looked tired recently, and I think that this break, it could do him a lot of good. Yeah. I think teams are maybe they know the threat he poses, and they've maybe been doubling up on a bit and really kind of making it difficult for Saka. But a home game against Palace, set pieces, hopefully pens. Although as an Odegaard owner, I don't mind if he passes the next one on, providing it's to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a lot going for him. Certainly, you've just got to hope that Arsenal can finally start scoring those chances because they are creating.
Trippier is next, 6.7 million now. He's gone down in price, created 11 chances, same as Saka. 23 corners, no goals, 14 successful crosses. I was watching him in the Sunderland game because he was back. He's back. He's been sort of off form, and I still thought he was quite poor. I think he lost the ball a lot of times still, and I thought his crosses were largely dealt with. I don't fear Trippier as a non-owner. I don't think many non-owners do anymore, do they?
No, he's had a blip, and I was just looking that even if he comes out of that, I'm trying to think how many clean sheets are we going to see from Newcastle, and I think I only really see probably the Luton home game in the next five where I'd be confident of a clean sheet. So yeah, I'm not looking at getting Trippier anytime soon, I don't think, but. If you own him, you might want to hold him for that Luton Forest run in a couple of game weeks maybe and then reassess. Because like a lot of people, I think the transfers are going to be midfielders dominating those transfers over the next couple of weeks. So.
And those with a glass half full approach to Arsenal will be pleased to know that Martinelli is next on the list. And I will mention Odegaard is a bit further down this list, but nevertheless on this list. So Martinelli, in terms of featuring on the goals as Imminent and assist Imminent. Once a player's on both of these and they play for a good team and they've got pedigree, I'd get interested. Saka, great to see. Martinelli and Odegaard. So Martinelli, I'll just read out his stats. 8 chances created, 8 corners, 5 successful crosses. Should have got at least an assist, an assist over and above the one he already got. Odegaard, last 4 matches, 16 chances created, really good stats there. 4 corners, 5 successful crosses. Should have got about half an assist above his assist that he has achieved. So once again, I mean, so you probably repeat ourselves here, but as an owner of Saka and Odegaard, it's good to see them there. I think Martinelli owners, I think he's a keep if you've got.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't sell him now. I mean, I owned him. I've pre-Odegaard, I had Martinelli for a few weeks, and that didn't quite go to plan because it does feel like sometimes in this Arsenal system, it's not playing to his strength. Sometimes you mentioned it, he gets to the byline and he's cutting a lot of balls back, and that's a key part of his game. But he's not really getting those really good chances, those goal-scoring opportunities. That was my impression of it whenever I watched him. But I think if you own him and you've kept faith this long, it would be silly to remove him now ahead of Palace and Forest.
Oh, okay. So there's been an update live while we're talking. I believe, you might better look into this a bit more, there's an injury to Alexander-Arnold. So, annoyingly, we put him on the thumb. but not as annoying as it for him, being injured. So I haven't got a definite about it. I've just seen a tweet from Andy.
It's just...
Yep.
Neil's just sent me it, and it's on the Liverpool site, so it's official, and he will be sidelined. He's sidelined for a few weeks due to a knee injury.
Oh, okay, okay,
definite.
So all of those watching and listening, if you just bear with me a second, just get my screen up.
Well, I guess you don't need to bring him in anymore. That's one thing less for you to worry about.
So that's literally why we've been on air. That has broke. So I'll just go back to the goals imminent table. Everything I was saying about Alexander-Arnold, ignore, because he's not available for a few weeks. I mean, a few weeks though could be one game week, because game week 22 is at the end of this month, and we're at so if it's say 2 and a bit weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, let's just have a look. So Liverpool are obviously he's going to be out of that 21st of January one.
Yeah.
Their next game is on the 31st of January. So that would probably be a doubt. And then after that, it's the 4th of February. Okay. Probably going to miss a couple, isn't he? No.
Okay.
Need to see the full quotes, but yeah. No.
Yeah, definitely. I might see if I can change the thumbnail. So we do mention him. So this is what you could have got. Apparently, I'm getting lots of comments now about him, and loads of medical experts in. It's a tear in his lateral ligament, apparently. And
Yeah.
also being suggested that he's got a knee injury for carrying the team for all this time. And Will C is suggesting I'm smiling inside. I don't know how to react to that.
Yes.
I don't own him, but it's horrible because I suspect. I mean, if you teared your lateral ligament, that sounds really painful. So I'm not going to laugh at a good player.
No, of
or
course
anyone.
not. That has the potential to cause a lot of headaches this
Yeah.
week because obviously we've got Salah and Son. So if you're one of those managers who's maybe got a
Yeah.
non-playing, be it a defender like a
Yeah.
Lascelles, or if you've got like Mobama up front or something, and you've only got one free transfer, this has the potential
Yeah.
to be a problem. And
Yeah.
it could be a bit of a problem for my team as well. But we haven't done we're recording our team reveal after this week, so we can react to that maybe more in that. So,
I've just, I mean, ever the content creator, ever the journalist. I'm just thinking the thumbnail picture with Alexander Arnold. And I've actually entitled this Reds Alert, as in because it's got an Arsenal player on it and a Liverpool player, and Alexander Arnold. But of course, the red can also refer to the flag
Arsenal.
now. And Arsenal,
Oh,
but
okay.
also
Well,
the red could
okay.
also be the flag. So it's a red alert
it
there.
could be. We can get creative, or you could just switch it to Arsenal somehow. But yeah,
Yeah. So either way, we've covered it here. The content is
Yeah.
straight off the press.
Yeah.
There, everyone is saying we're all rich now. So lots of sympathy for a guy tearing his
Yeah.
lateral ligament. There, we're all rich. Let's move on to some players that we think will be fit. Oh, actually, I just want to say this whole news about Alexander Arnold just shows you what problems we've got in this split game week, because the first set of fixtures is this weekend. Then you got the next set of fixtures. Literally, I was thinking, oh my God, Alexander Arnold, want to own him. Owners would have thought, oh, I'll definitely field him, could even captain him. And then it's gone, in a split to like injured. That could happen to anyone we've mentioned. Anyone who's playing that next weekend.
So
as well.
so if this happened this time next week, one, we wouldn't have a clue about it.
No.
And you've got the FA Cup replays as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, we wouldn't be able to react to it because the deadline's gone. And we've got FA Cup replays, including teams like West Ham next week, which is in the middle of the game week.
Yeah.
So even if Jared Bowen recovers, he plays in that. There's no guarantee then he plays. It's really difficult. And I kind of beefed up my bench a few weeks back, and I paid for that last game week because I had to bench Palmer. But maybe, look, I'm not getting those points and I'm still very bitter about it. But at least now I've got maybe a little bit more depth to be able to cope with situations like this. So
yeah, definitely there. Also another comment from Animations. This is why you don't make early moves. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I've seen made early moves. Obviously, it's been transfer activity. One of the main reasons I didn't, it was so long and there were so many matches still to play. And to be honest, if I had made an early move, I would have done Salah to Bowen, who's now injured possibly for game week 21.
I think a lot of people did make that move, didn't they? So
okay, we've got sidetracked here. Probably wise because it's Manchester United player next, Bruno Fernandes. Okay, so he did get his penalty.
he did.
Earned against Wigan, but he got 13. He's created 13 chances in his last 4 matches, 10 corners, no goals, 6 successful crosses. These are good stats. I've got Garnacho in my team. I feel fairly confident of a return or two from Manchester United. But Fernandes, people won't go there, but he could be a good captaincy shout, especially if you got a penalty and an assist. That's a haul.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whenever he gets any kind of attacking return, you normally get a bit of bonus with it because of his play style and the amount of key passes and completed passes he racks up. And I mean, he hasn't pre-Wigan. He hadn't really looked like doing anything in the 3 games against prior to that, be it against us or Forest or West Ham, I think it was as well. But, against that Spurs high line, you can see his passes, maybe finding his way to Garnacho. I think Garnacho, are you going to play him this week, Joe? I presume you are you, against Spurs?
So,
I think he's quite a good option.
I mean, when I was doing the FPL Generals video, speaking to him, I mean, he's just wildcarded. So he's in the luxury position where he's got 4 good midfielders and he's going to actually bench Garnacho as his first sub. So he's got Garnacho in as a great first sub, which of course he is. But for me, I don't have that depth because I haven't wildcarded recently, and happy to play. So I've got to play him.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm,
would
I'm
be.
quite happy to, because in the past, my supposedly first sub has actually I've fielded and done well. I mean, I remember a totally different player, but West Ham Souček. My team was worse than many other people's, so I ended up playing him. But I got him for all of those goals, and he was just
Yeah.
sitting on most people's bench. And with Garnacho, I've only owned him for 1 week. He's got a return. The week before he got a brace. He looked good once again. He looked great. Again, I know it's only Wigan in the FA Cup, but he looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just full of confidence, and there's so many times where I wish other players had passed to him, but I don't think he did it. He's done anything wrong. But
No.
yes, Fernandez here. So I guess the answer is
Yeah.
Garnacho is much cheaper than Fernandez, and I think he might get more returns.
Yeah, you feel a bit, you don't mind punting on a United player if they cost 4.8 or whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't completely rule out Fernandez, but again, it might be more for those people who are willing to take a bit of a risk, maybe for people really looking to chase.
Yeah.
And players like him and Jota maybe are the ones that you might, if you're in the position that you're in, Joe, there's no real need to be going for those, unless, because I wouldn't say I don't think anybody who bought in Fernandez this week could be really sure that he's going to get returns. It is a bit of a gamble bringing in a player like that, given that he's 8.2 million. But for some people, they might be more willing to risk it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next name on the list, we've got Grealish here. He's a sort of an also ran to Foden, I would guess. And also we've got Haaland returning, Kevin De Bruyne returning. Nevertheless, Grealish, 9 chances created, 2 goals. I don't particularly like the stats. I think he's a great player, but as an FPL player with Doku back as well, there's certain games that just scream Doku playing. I'm just not interested in Grealish. I don't think you probably are either.
No, I thought he did well against Huddersfield when he was on the pitch, but there's a lot of competition now. Doku's back, came on and got the goal at the weekend. Oscar Bob looked really good as well, I thought, on the other wing. And and then Foden might be pushed into that wider role once De Bruyne is back. So there's a lot of competition for places there, and I don't think Grealish really. I mean, he was in a few teams last year over a period because he was nailed. And I think anybody who's nailed in that City attack is of interest. But yeah, I don't think this year he's really been on the radar, has he, at all? No. And he needs to show maybe a bit more goal for it. No.
Our next name, Kulusevski. A lot of interest in Richarlison, obviously playing up front with Tottenham. How Tottenham fare without Son remains to be seen. Kulusevski should play on the right, I would imagine. And Brennan Johnson on the left, Richarlison up front, and then Werner's coming in. Lo Celso can play through the middle. Madison could be coming back. A lot up in the air, a lot of question marks here. But Kulusevski, 12 chances created. He has scored. He has assisted. He's had 3 successful crosses. Should have got more. He's of interest, but out of all of the other sort of Salah, Son replacements, he's probably a bit low down, isn't he?
Yeah, I looked at him a few weeks ago and gave him a bit of thought when Madison was out and he was playing through the middle a bit more, and I like him in that role. And he's a really, really good player. It's just, can you put him ahead of somebody like Richarlison, who's probably going to be on penalties while Son's away, will be playing through the middle? It's very hard for somebody to kind of get ahead. Like, I get why people would maybe go for Johnson if you can't afford Richarlison because he's cheaper, but Kulusevski is pretty much the same price. Yeah, I would find it hard to put him ahead of Richarlison right now.
Yeah, and we mentioned Odegaard already, and then Udogie worth mentioning as well. I mean, Porro's the main draw there, but more expensive. So if you haven't got that money and you want to tap into Tottenham's fixtures, although they might blank in 26, Manchester United next, then Brentford, Everton, Brighton, Wolves, and then they've got Crystal Palace in game at 27. Okay fixtures, but I don't think people go there. But nevertheless, Doggy has created 7 chances in his last 4 matches, and he has scored as well. Let's send some questions. If you're on the live chat, do ask some questions. Do put a question mark at the end so I can easily see that as well. Obviously, a lot of the chat is about the Alexander-Arnold injury. That sort of rocked us and everyone. Absolutely huge player.
Yeah, it's going to see a Stupinan pick up a lot more
Yeah.
interest now, I think.
I mean, I was going to ask the first question to you actually there. I mean, where can you see the transfers being made there? I mean,
Stupinan, yeah.
it's going to be a Stupinan. I'm also a very worried Alfie Doty manager because he's not going to be a differential much longer.
No, especially if they get a double in 25,
Yeah.
which has been
Yeah.
talked about. But yeah, I think a Stupinan. I mean, he has
Yeah, it
been
will be.
playing on the left of the back three, hasn't he? I think that Joe, would I be right in saying that is to manage his comeback a little? It's obviously less demanding, or do you think he's in there to
No,
counter
I think it's
certain
just certain.
threats?
It depends on the opponent, and it depends on
Yeah,
obviously the personnel as well. But I think it's because some matches, he's favoured as a sort of a fullback in a back four, and some matches he could be favoured as a wing back, or he could be favoured in that sort of Cucurella role, in that he could be on the
yeah,
left side of that of the centre back, but he can also go forwards.
yeah,
It doesn't really matter. I don't think people should get worried about his attacking returns because he will crop up in attacking positions,
yeah,
and he will be
yeah.
able to be assist. Yeah, no, he's great. He would be absolutely. If I so one of the questions may be, who do we get in instead of Alexander Arnold? As a Brighton fan,
Stupinan.
and also just
Yeah,
looking at the stats as well, and looking at the performances. I mean, he's been back for 3 matches and he scored twice and got a clean sheet.
yeah,
Admittedly, only 2 of them have been league ones. One's his goal against Stoke, obviously in the cup.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, this is he's been back for 3 matches. He's got 2 goals and a clean sheet. Well, what more can you ask
yeah. It's
for?
amazing.
He's only about 5 million.
Yeah. He's under that still, isn't he? Is he 4.9 still,
Yeah,
I think?
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Mike,
I was already I was already looking at a Stupinan this week as a potential Livramento replacement. It might turn into Alexander Arnold replacement now. But yeah, definitely he'd be top pick.
yeah, there was. I mean, Michael Scott in the live chat was saying, I'm going to put in the word "damn" because he should put it there. Damn, a Stupinan was going to be my differential. So he
Yeah.
obviously shares those similar
Yeah, I
fears.
get that.
He also, Michael Scott also asked a question here about thoughts on Tony in for Darwin, and even a differential captain home to Forest. We can touch on that now, but look out for our captaincy video. Because we do mention Tony a fair bit in that. And so that would answer the second part of that about captain. But in essence, though, Darwin out for Tony, especially with Alexander Arnold gone. I mean, is that, if it's for free, I'd be tempted.
Yeah, I would do that as well, I think. I mean, yeah, you might not get 90 minutes out of immediately, Tony.
Yeah.
He might be, but he's still going to play the bulk of games. He's still going to get to 70, 75, I would have thought. And that Forest fixture is good at the weekend. He's going to be, he's been, he's missed so much football. That he's gonna give Brentford such a lift coming back into that team. And great penalty taker, great free kicks. Yeah, I think if you haven't got other areas which you're neglecting to make that move, then yeah, you would be right up there. I like it.
Yeah, so if you've come for some love for Darwin here, you're not going to get it. Zubin, on the similar theme, he already owns Darwin. He's not thinking of getting rid. He's doubling up with Jota, too risky. I would say yes, given their main creator is now injured for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that changes, and the fact that Salah isn't there is let's not forget he's a key creator for them as well.
Yeah.
You worry how that's going to impact Liverpool because the fixtures aren't easy. Bournemouth, who have been playing really well, Chelsea, then Arsenal. These aren't really easy fixtures, and you take out your 2 best players out of any team.
Yeah.
If you go to City and you take out Haaland and De Bruyne, it impacts teams. So yes, they've got a big squad and a good squad, Liverpool. But doubling up on an attack for those fixtures without 2 creators, such big creators, that might be a bit too much, I think.
Animations asked the question that would probably us and every other content creator has been asking all week and will do this week. Who do you get in for Salah and Son? But for him specifically, he's got the 2 free transfers. He can do both. Salah and Son out. At the moment, he's eyeing up Foden and Richarlison as his top choices. Who would your top 2 choices be? Out of any of the players, anyone. So hopefully this will answer. Say for example, if someone didn't own Palmer, for example.
Yeah, so like I think Saka and Palmer, who are my two captaincy candidates at the moment this week, they would obviously be
Yeah.
right up there. But I get the feeling that most people probably own them already,
Mm.
and I think I'd be looking at Gross and Foden as the
Yeah.
two, which I think is similar to you, isn't
Yeah.
it, Joe?
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two players which Gross is your kind of your minutes
Mm.
man, but really been a threat over the past few
Mm.
weeks for Brighton. I
Yeah.
think Brighton are going to. I think the fact that Brighton aren't playing in Europe now until March, I think I'm
Yeah.
right in
Long time
saying
away. Yeah.
that's gonna help them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Having that bit more preparation
Mm.
time. They're not going to blank in 26 Brighton or Man City, are they either? I think
Mm.
it's probably going to be Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool and Luton who blank probably in 26, isn't it? If it's
Yeah.
a Chelsea Liverpool final.
Yeah.
So with Gross and Foden as well, you're getting in a player who'll be able to cover that.
Mm.
So yeah, I think those two would be my top picks.
Yep. Yeah. So that's not to say Richarlison isn't a good pick. I think Foden would be my top pick. Richarlison is a
Yeah.
bit lower down for me, just because I don't particularly know what I'm getting from him. I don't know how many offside shots he could get, a hat trick. I just don't know. Whereas I think with Foden and Gross, I know I'm going to get a steady stream of attacking returns. Also with Foden, he will not blank, I don't believe, in 26, and he could double before that. With the Brentford game to be rearranged, so he could get a
Could do, yeah.
double, no blank. Great player, great team, and I also think Man City could be in that death kill mode at the moment with all their players back. So
Yeah, it's a bit ominous, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah. Okay.
Rodrev says he caveats with this: I'm not ever going to get this player in. But what is our prediction of Timo Werner's price? Should he sign on the dotted line for Spurs as he's expected to?
My first thought was seven,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that would be. See, I think
7.5.
has he been sort of in the past a sort of 8 million forwards, but then dropped in
I seem
price.
to recall him being about 8.5 million or something, didn't
So
he, when he
I
came
think,
in?
I mean, realistically, he should be a midfielder. If Richarlison's a midfielder, then Werner should be, because Werner would play probably behind him or possibly on the wing, but I can't see Werner as a number 9. You say 7. I would have thought 8 would have been too high, so therefore I reckon
Yeah, because then
7.5
7.5.
feels right.
Yeah, because at 8, you're going to be getting towards Maddison, and nobody's really going to take Werner over Maddison once he's back up to speed. So you have to then challenge people and say, well, a bit like Richarlison, who's just under 7 now, that would probably be a fair price, I think, for somebody who will get chances in that Spurs team.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be playing under the right manager, but whether or not he can convert them, a bit like Darwin, and a bit like Richarlison as well. He might be a frustrating own again. I'm not sure if I want to go there just yet.
Sean's got a very long question, but the gist of it seems to be: should I get João Pedro? He's got a whole bunch of. He's just listed who else he's got. He's got Gross already. He's got 2 free transfers. He can remove Salah and Nkunku, hence him looking at Pedro. Yeah, I like Pedro. But Brighton are top of the fixtures. He's in good form. He seems to be more increasingly favoured by the manager.
Yeah.
He's been a mainstay in Europe in the starting lineups, but he should be now in the league because there's just a lack of competition. Adingra's not around, Mitoma's not around. So Welbeck and Ferguson will share the number 9. I would imagine Pedro will be the number 10. Can play as number 9 and can play on wide as well. And on penalties, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he would be. Yeah, just get.
You taught yourself into that one.
I'm thinking, how can I get him in now? But yeah, get him in. If you got those, if you can make a forward move, but I will caveat to say, if you've got the money and you're making a forward move, I do think Tony is better this week, because he's a genuine captain shout. So even if you didn't go for Tony long term, just get for this week and see where you go. You can always get Brighton's fixtures are really good for a long time. Brentford's aren't.
They are, yeah.
But they are. But it is a good fixture this time, and it just, I don't know, Tony back. I just think that's a good captaincy move, and I don't even think it's a maverick captaincy move considering Tony's pedigree.
No, I think it would be a maverick captaincy move if we had Haaland available, if we had Salah or Son, but we haven't, and so it's wide open this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why Tony has got to be in the kind of the top 3 or 4 picks, I think.
But yeah, I would put Pedro up there as well, definitely. Very good move.
Yeah, I like that. I like that move.
Colmar, he's already got a Stupinan, so we were saying, best Trent replacement. He's considering Virgil van Dijk or Walker. I would go for Walker because Man City don't blank in 26, do double. Am I right in saying he's played every minute of the league?
Yeah, he's pretty much started every game, I think.
It's the off chance of an attacking return, but pretty much you're going to be getting solid returns. I do think there's going to be clean sheets. Man City's fixtures in amongst them, they got Burnley, Gameweek 22, Burnley at home, Everton at home 24, Brentford away, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home and Manchester United at home. I don't know whether he'll get clean sheets in those, but there's some clean sheets in there, and he could double in 25, so I would go for them. Liverpool, no Trent Alexander-Arnold and no Salah just really puts me off.
Yeah, and we forget that Robertson's out as well, isn't he? So who's going to play it? They're going to be playing a youngster at right back, aren't they? Because Joe Gomez has been on the left, unless Tsimikas is back sooner than we thought. And I think he has been pictured, hasn't he? But
he has been. Yeah, I can't remember when I went with my son to see Brighton against Liverpool last year. This time last year, in fact, and Liverpool were down to this sort of, and I can't remember. Was it Doak, someone like that? Anyway, came on and people going, who? And
he's the younger
send the children on. So it'll be a child somewhere.
Yeah, I think it will be, won't it? It'll be the chap. Is it Bradley? It came on at right back at the weekend. So maybe given all of those players out, and I don't think the fixtures are great for Liverpool in a defensive sense. Anyway, I think Bournemouth have been doing very well. Solanke against his former club. Then it's Chelsea. Then it's Arsenal. So I don't think I would look at Van Dijk right now. I think Walker's a better shout.
On a similar thing about defenders, Sarah has asked, should I do a -4 to bring in a Stupinan so that you can actually bench Trent Alexander-Arnold? And the reason she asked that is because she's got Mark Gahey away to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Porro, great, you can play him. Saliba, great, play him. Trent Alexander-Arnold can't play him. And Lascelles, he's lost his place and injured. So you're down to 2 defenders. I would say in that case, whether it's for Trent or for Mark Gahey or Lascelles, probably Lascelles be the priority. Yeah. I actually think in this case it would be. And I would do the same if I only had 2 good defenders this week.
Yeah, I'd do it. And I wouldn't sell Gahey, though, just because he is playing and they play Sheffield United after this week. I'm only aware of that because he's in my own team. But I think that Trent or Lascelles out for a Stupinan, if you've only got 2 playing defenders, it makes absolute sense to do it this week. And a Stupinan you can get in your team and you can just play him every single week. Even at Tottenham, I'd probably play him in 24 for the next 8 game weeks. Set and forget, basically.
Yeah, he's exactly the kind of player you get in not for clean sheets, which is handy because he plays for Brighton. They've only had one. Okay, Matthew has said, I already took a -4 to remove Hwang and Son to try and field 7 attackers. And now this, I said the dangers of an early move, I guess, but the thing is, he's down to bare bones anyway. Now he's got Trent Alexander-Arnold to deal with as well. He can't. It's the same issue, really. He can't get 3 defenders, but he's looking to wildcard. Well, as we just answered with Sarah's one, I think you can just a hit, maybe even 2, and you can solve that problem. I think the wildcard is so important later on. I wouldn't use it now just to make sure you can get 3 defenders out.
Because we'll have a lot more information ahead of the next next deadline, not this one,
Yeah.
because the FA Cup will be deeper in. I think we'll have the draw for that. I think you'll have a lot more information about who's likely to blank, double. Yeah, I'd run a P. I think if you have to, if your team absolutely needs it, then I'd wild card by all means, and it could still work out well. But I think I'd favour holding on to it a bit
Yeah.
longer.
He's already saying a -4, so just take another one. I would do that. I think the wild card is worth much more than 4 points.
It can, yeah, especially can be with all the doubles and the blanks coming up.
Okay, this is a question for those thinking of bringing Haaland back. That's not me, because I've still got him. Because that's how stupid I am. If you bring back Haaland, would you play him with two 6.5 plus strikers? So in my case, that would probably be typically Watkins and Solanke. Or would you switch one of them to a cheapie, sort of thinking ahead? He says Pedro and Jimenez. I mean, we've already said. I mean, I'm particularly quite keen on getting Tony in if you can make that move. But yeah, I do think there is a merit. If I was starting again, I think I would still have Haaland, Watkins, and Solanke. I think that would still be my choice. But depending on your budget, I don't think there's anything wrong with Pedro or indeed Jimenez with Fulham, with Everton at home, Bournemouth at home, Brighton at home, all in the next 7 fixtures. Pretty good.
Yeah, no, yeah, not much more to add with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there are various options now, and these cheap players like Pedro seem a little bit more secure in their minutes. Open up 3-4-3s, 3-4-5-2s, whatever you want to play.
Jay says 7 lag. I can probably anticipate my answer to this. Thoughts on Alfie Doughty for Alexander Arnold to help with funding Haaland in the future? Yeah. I think he's great. So yeah, I think he's good. He's cheap and he goes on and he could get a double in 25, and he could also blank.
Yeah,
in
and
26,
they've got
so.
Burnley next.
Yeah,
And then in 24 they play Sheffield United. So, and I think if you're a Doughty player, you'll probably play him at home to Brighton too. Yes, they'll concede, but he's not just. No, not many teams are keeping clean sheets at the moment. So why not pick one of the most attacking defenders in the league? And that's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, also the fixtures are important. I mean, when I got him in, someone was saying, "Oh, they didn't like Luton's fixtures," and I said, "Well, you don't like."
Okay.
Yeah. And I was saying you don't like matchups against 3 promoted sides in the next 5 game weeks because, of course, they play Sheffield United twice during that time.
Twice,
so that's 3 fixtures.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a response. Sarah points out that if you do take Trent out, he is back probably for double game week. If should Liverpool get that game week 25?
Yeah, well, maybe that increases the interest in a free hit in 25. If you're taking out Alexander Arnold and Salah this week, because you could free hit in 25, then they're going to blank in 26. Liverpool will probably blank in 29 as well because of the FA Cup if they get to the quarters, which they're expected to, given the draw, certainly for the 4th round. And I think one of those games prior to that is against City. So you might find that you could get rid of them both, free hit them in for that double if it happens, and then go without for a bit.
Yeah.
So
also,
maybe.
I mean, the point here about sort of benching that money, a lot of people won't like benching money. Now, I have benched Haaland all this time. I've had green arrows over Christmas, and I'm, quite happy where I am in the rankings, about 67k or something, with Haaland. So it hasn't hampered me having 14 million on my bench, and I don't think it would hamper anyone else having 8.5 million, especially with the money from Salah and Son.
No.
So, he's going to. Well, the prognosis seems to be 3 weeks or so but as I said, I think that's only 1 or 2 game weeks because of the break.
Yeah.
So I do think there's merit in that. Definitely saves a transfer. Okay. I'm just rattling through some more questions. Okay. Okay, we're coming up to an hour mark, so I'm just going to get a couple more questions in, and then we'll end it there. Me and Tom, if there's any other questions people have got, me and Tom have a captaincy video out this week that may answer some of your questions. We also got a team reveal video out. We'll have in the next day or two, so that also might answer some more questions as well. So a couple of questions here. Tyler Little, is Tony worth a -4 for Alvarez? I would say not,
Oh,
-4, but I
right.
am also very keen on Tony, and I think he's a captaincy shout. But I think Alvarez is
Yeah,
also a
but
good shout this week.
yeah, I've got Alvarez too.
Yeah,
I've had him for a few weeks now,
yeah,
but I think given that Haaland wasn't even on the bench against
mm,
Huddersfield, wasn't it?
mm,
Yeah. I think that he'd probably be the favourite to lead the line again. And if he's on set pieces and penalties against Newcastle, who have been leaky recently, I absolutely wouldn't be taking a hit for him to get him
Um,
out.
and final question is about Kevin De Bruyne from Scott Speed. The Kevin De Bruyne got some minutes of City in the Cup, as he noted. He got an assist as well.
He
Is he
did,
likely
yeah.
to get some more minutes in the future? So, I mean, that's the essential question: is it worth it getting in because you want minutes? But
Not yet.
I just
No.
don't think yet. And the quote, go back on Fancy Football Scout on X. I think we have the exact quote there from De Bruyne, pretty much saying, I hope to be on the bench, if you see what I mean. For him, that's good, considering how long he's been out. He hopes to get more minutes, but he doesn't expect
I think
to play all
he
the
said
games.
he kind of he expects to be on the bench
Yeah,
because he said it was a big game at Newcastle. I think Pep's reiterated, he's said so many times he's going to be careful with them.
yeah,
And he's not a bad player to have on the bench if you need him after 60 minutes, is he? So
yeah,
I think that another bench a role against
yeah.
Newcastle, then they go away to Abu Dhabi for 2 weeks. Him, Haaland, further training sessions, get him ready, and then maybe by the time you get to that Burnley game and Brentford, then he might be ready to start. So
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us in the live chat. News wise, the Alexander Arnold news has obviously come in whilst we're recording. In a way, it's been not fortuitous for him, obviously, fortuitous for us from a journalistic point of view that we've been able to address that and been able to recommend some alternatives and strategies for dealing with that. I think that's sort of overshadowed a lot of our chat, but it's also been a good chance for us to get that on as well. Just more questions about Stupinan. Lots of people are interested in Stupinan. I think that's the two main strategies: Alexander Arnold for a Stupinan or bench him because he might be back
yeah.
in a couple of weeks, a couple of game weeks. Tom, thanks so much for your time. We've got plenty more videos coming up later this week. Those watching, do press that like button and do obviously subscribe as well if you're not already to keep up to date with our videos and podcasts. And have a look at fancyfootballscout.co.uk for those members offers. In the meantime, Tom, good luck with your transfer decisions, your captaincy, and all those other things that we'll discuss in other vids. See you soon.
Great. Thanks, Jane.